Every time I close my eyes, I see the night again. In all the dreams I have, I hear the sound of angels cry. Take me back, I need to find those distant memories. Hold on close, only my fire through it all. In all my life, I've been searching for a better world, but time has let me down. Here we stand on this broken land, raise my head up high, I can see the sun. We are the children with fire in the sky, and we are the future. Our souls in the night will never die. Feel the change, it seems it's like the same old day to me. Nothing here I have to live before they capture me. In all my life I've been searching for a better world, but time has let me down. Here we stand on this broken land, raise my head up high, I can see the sun. We are the children with fire in the sky. We are the future. Our souls in the night will never die.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's Thursday night. We're back. We're here. We're live.
We are
I'm,
live.
I'm your co-host Dixie Dave, along with my co-host, the five-time world champion Crusher Crossen.
And it's great to be here, Dave. I'm it's been a busy, getting ready for this Hall of Fame that we're going to do, the last one. And I got to say, Dave, I'm kind of glad it's the last one. It's a lot of work preparing all this stuff.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
All the behind the scenes stuff that has to take place for this thing.
As I said before, I'm glad it's you doing it. I have none of that experience getting all that stuff together, so I'm glad it's you doing it.
But I should point out to all our viewers before we get started here, if you do, go to our website, which is nwfwrestling.org, there's a link right on the front page for the Hall of Fame, and it'll take you right to our Hall of Fame page. You'll have all the information, because I know people are, I'm hearing a lot of buzz because people are really looking forward. Somebody's going to get this sucker, this WWF Andre 87 belt. It's a 6 mil. This thing's heavy, man. If I was Andre, I don't know if I'd even want to carry this thing around, because it's a heavy belt. Big belt for a big guy.
Well, honestly, I think it'd look nice around my waist, but, I'm one of the nominees.
Belt. No, it's a beautiful belt, though, and it's kind of a little extra special thank you I want to give to everybody that takes part in voting for our Hall of Fame, because, it's a lot of work, and we put into this, and the guys really appreciate the the recognition that you give them when you vote for them. And it's just recognizing within ourselves, right? We're not trying to say, hey, we're famous, everybody. No, this is just who stood out in our league, right? And it's our final one.
it's a little ego boost to show appreciation for those who've been involved.
Yeah, yep, absolutely. And I want to get a couple things out of the way here, Dave, before we get going. The next time we go live is going to be in 2 weeks now. We're going to go 2 weeks. We won't be live next week, but the
Nope.
following week, February 15th, we'll be returning live again.
And that show's going to be interesting. All the personalities that we've discussed that are going to be on that show.
Yes, we've reached out to a lot of our acquaintances. I don't want to say friends because it's not like we're on a regular communication with these guys, but these are people that were not involved in our show but know of it and are willing to come on and talk about our evolution of what we did. And some of the people we're going to have coming on will be Brian Zane with Wrestling with Regret, very popular YouTube channel, over 300 some thousand subscribers. He did a little piece on the NWF way back when. He's going to come on and join us. We're going to
Yep.
have
Brian Zane
Mike,
is Mr. Brian Zane is Mr. Where Were Their Parents?
our old man Tronson is the other one. But the other one is Mike Grimsley, former professional wrestler. He's been on with us before. What's his name, Jabe? The Hammer?
Well, he goes by the Hammer now, but back in the day he was known as Racer X.
Racer X. Okay, so that'll be great to get his perspective again. He didn't see everything we did. He only seen a snippet, but he'll be, interested in hearing him. We also have Carmine, and I don't want to butcher the last
Sabia.
name, Sabia. Explain America as well as the BAM show. Very, very popular YouTube personality, and he's been involved in the business.
Andy is a former promoter himself.
Right. So, and these are guys that are, in the wrestling business, so to speak, or were at one time, to get their take, an outside perspective, as I like to say. And we have a few others as well. Carol Castle with the Minnesota Wrestling Hall of Fame, although we don't know for sure, but she's hoping to join
And a
us.
surprise guest, which we will not mention.
Right. And it would be a surprise as well. Let's get a couple comments here. I see Gizmo's in the house. It's a nice thing you are doing with the Hall of Fame. You really do care about the wrestlers in your company, or shall I say family? Absolutely. That's what it's all about. It's just, it's been 40 years, 40th anniversary of the conception of the league right now. And, 40 years ago it started, and that's why we're commemorating this final Hall of Fame, because we don't want to keep doing them. Dave, if we kept doing
Right.
Hall of Fame every year, we'd have everybody in, right?
And Gizmo, I like one word that you threw in there. Family.
I'm going to say family. Yeah.
Because in the world of wrestling, the word brother gets thrown out around a lot.
Yes, it does.
But honestly, wrestling is kind of a brotherhood and a sisterhood with lady wrestlers. I mean, these guys who are in the big leagues, they travel 200, 300 nights a year working. So the people on the road become your family. That's why people like Seth Rollins have married Becky Lynch. You've seen you've seen various wrestlers marrying female wrestlers.
Exactly. And also say hello to our Facebook user here, Dave, saying hi to us. With Facebook, we don't necessarily know who you are. It's few comes up, but unless you do what it says in the description, it'll unlock that feature for you and put your actual name of what you're logged in as, unless it is few. But a Facebook viewer joining us here as well. We always want to acknowledge people when they're there,
Yep.
so they know that we know you're there. And feel free to ask any questions along the way as we get going here in the show. This is a special show, Dave. This show we're watching today, let me get the information here for everybody. This show is NWF TV Taping 37 from Group W Cable, recorded on March 16th, 1985. It was the final show, the final taping, and there was two shows that day. And the final episode recorded out of the Group W Cable studio for the show, because the following show we went into the garage.
Yep.
And Also special with this show is also featuring all 2014, the very first inaugural Hall of Fame that we did. This show features everybody in that Hall of Fame on one show.
Hmm.
So, interestingly enough, yeah, all these personalities on one show together. So it'll be a fun show to watch. And also, I didn't even mention this, but this is the show where Merciless Mike got his title shot against Ace. Thought he was going to win it in our shoot title matches, Dave.
Yep.
And it didn't go that way. And Mike was livid. Oh, let me tell you, he was livid. He thought he was going to win.
I believe I've seen this episode once, and his reaction is priceless.
Well, there were snippets of this in the documentary, and when we had Ace on the show, we showed a little bits of this, quite a bits of parts of this match as well. But yeah, it'll be a fun show to watch. So I say let's get the show going.
All
So
right.
we'll start that up, and then we can keep talking along the way.
As Crusher's loading that up, I'm also going to say, don't forget to tune in to our final show in February. Because if things work out the way we plan, Crusher and I are doing another roundtable with some of the nominees for the Hall of Fame this year.
That's right. We have another show, and we already have people committed for that. So that final week of February we're gonna have the personalities of, hopefully the personalities anyway, of Kid USA Kelsey, Terry Kostnapel, our good friend Jamie McParlin, the Irish Terror, Ricky Vaughn.
Okay, the next match, another
and
match.
Rockin' Ronabomb.
Super D2.
And
I might add, Super D2.
Gosh, I hope I'm not forgetting anybody. I think there's more. We're going to try to get a few more. We can have up to 10 people. I don't know if we want to go 10, though, because that can get confusing. But we'll get a good handful, though. I'll have a little bit of a round table on that one. That'll be fun.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
And we see Crusher Crossen doing ring announcing.
Yeah, we were. Rich Taylor was not able to help us anymore at this point in announcing. He was our announcer for the longest time there. And as much as I wanted Rich to keep doing it, he just was getting busy with other things, and he just couldn't commit to the show anymore. So we were in the midst of trying to find an announcer at this point in time. So I had to do the announcing in the meantime.
Oh, kicking in the midsection.
Yeah, the lightweights, Ref Ryan, Super D. What did they say? Super D2 was it, Dave?
Yep.
I'll catch it.
Oh, okay. He picks him up on the back and throws him down.
And
I could never tell them apart.
And who's our referee?
Here's Ace.
That's Matt Kelsey.
Oh, and it's a sledgehammer to this Super D2. He twists.
You know, Ref Ryan Kelsey and the Dazowskis, they lived across the street from each other. So they,
Super D2
you know,
they were very familiar with each other.
Very familiar, yeah. So rough housing and everything like that goes along with the territory. I mean, they don't have any. I mean, they're definitely
and it's shoulder block
comfortable in the ring together because they know each other.
Yep.
The ref counting Super D2 out.
I do like the way that, you know, in Group W Cable, I like the way we position that second camera over to the side now. We've done that in the last couple tapings at Group W. I think that gives it a little bit better perspective, which I think is good.
Oh, picks him up. Oh, and then drop.
All right, so you got a comment here from Sky Sports Video News. I see you're back in the old ring for tonight's show. Yeah, this is actually the last show we did with this setup.
Oh, he throws him in.
And I don't know if I explained it before or not, but Scott Tronson, our nemesis at the cable company, I mean, he was the one worker there that didn't like us for the most part. I'm not joking when I say that. He wanted us out of there, so he you know, this stage that we're on was a stage that was used for other things. It was like a stage, so like other shows they did in public access and all that.
Yeah.
And we own the ropes and posts. We didn't own the stage. And he says this stage is taking up too much room. We need to get rid of this thing. We're going to make a much more smaller styrofoam type stage platform. You know, the styrofoam type stages are light. They're easy to move around.
And here comes Ace.
And
Now back to
that's
the
what they were gonna
match.
do.
And there's a body
Now,
slam by Rough Ryan on
it
the
makes
Super
sense.
D2.
I
As you can
understand.
see,
As I'm
Super D
older
won
now, I
by
can see what's,
ringside lurking.
honestly, I can see his point.
And it's
But
Yeah.
Irish
it
whip,
killed her.
shoulder
It
block.
was a killer. Because we had nowhere to go with it.
Ref,
I remember Scott
kick
saying,
Kelsey.
why don't
And
you
now
just
you
put
can
some
see the Super D.
bricks and then
Super
prop the posts
D1.
up in the
The
bricks, and you won't be able to
helicopter.
use the ropes
Whoa.
really, but it'll
Now
serve the
spins
purpose.
around,
I said, Scott, get out of here.
and he falls
Bricks?
down onto the
Get
chest
out
of
of here.
Super
I
D2.
was so, I was like, it's like an insult.
It's
So,
not, shoulder block.
yeah, we had to brainstorm. We had to come up with something. And then, so in my
Super
garage,
D1
thinking
trying
like,
to help
gosh, maybe we could
Super
make this
D2
work.
out.
Yeah.
But as Rough Ryan
Fast forward another month or
Oh,
so, and
it's
we're in
a-
the garage doing tapings.
form smash to the
Best thing that
hammer
happened,
Super
by the way.
D2.
Best thing that happened
a
for the
shoulder-
show.
To the midsection.
Because going to my garage allowed us to really grow.
You could do stuff that we
2
couldn't get away
minutes
with
left
in the
this
studio.
match. And
Not that we
now
were
back
doing
to
anything wrong in the
Bad
studio, it's
Street
just this
got
ring.
on
Or
with the match.
what looks like a ring.
Conrad
You
now
couldn't really
kick
hit
to
the ropes.
Stomach of
It was hard as a rock.
Super
so you couldn't do
D2
big
up for
bumps.
the slam, throws
I mean,
him down,
slams like
Rough
this were the,
Ryan in total charge
most
of
of what we could really do.
Throws him on an Irish whip.
So we
Oh,
just
he-
couldn't develop the
I couldn't
wrestling
tell if he
like we
missed or
wanted
hit
to.
him.
Yeah.
Looks like he did. He's coming up. Is it a pile driver? Yes.
So the
it is a
commentator there
pile
sounds
driver.
like Brian Bell. Actually, Eric Balabon, his
Looks
younger
like
brother.
He's out of it now.
Now,
Oh, he
Brian
throws
Balabon
him
became
out
our
of the
announcer
ring.
in the garage days, and great
Rough Ryan
announcer
is
he
back in his
was.
corner. Super D2 helping Super D2. Here comes Super D2 back on Rough Ryan.
And I could never, I'll tell you something, these Dazowskis, I could never tell them apart. I mean, they were identical
Super D2
twins.
Oh, and a shoulder block.
I
Rough
couldn't tell them apart.
Ryan.
Matt knew, but Matt grew up with them. But he could tell.
Another
I would
Irish
al-
over.
Anytime I had to refer to him
another
off camera,
shoulder
Dave, it'd always
block
be,
by
hey,
Rough
Todd Troy,
Ryan.
Todd Troy.
He's got him now for the pin. 1, 2, 3. He's got him.
Because I didn't know if I was talking to Todd or
Rough
Troy.
Ryan defeats
Yep.
Super D2.
And your winner of the match, Rough Ryan. As you hear the official decision of this match, Rough Ryan. And now we take you down to ringside.
Some favoritism there by the
Yeah, a little
referee.
bit. This is pretty typical, these little promo spots like this, where we just say, if you want to wrestle on the show. Mike did all the recruiting at this point in time, so people, if wanted to join, they went through Mike. The NWF hotline was just for comments, match requests,
the
that kind of
biggest
thing.
handicap ever. It's gonna be Crusher Crossen versus Todd Killer Campa. Fantastic one and Space Earlies.
Yeah, handicap match, Dave. Crusher Crossen against these three.
Killer Campa now preparing for this.
You know,
match.
I did these handicap
wait,
matches
Kelsey,
because,
can I have
you know,
this, please?
Hogan
We
did
got a new
handicap
wrestler on
matches.
our
Remember in the
side.
AWA, the
As you know, we're
handicap
getting
matches
so
he
many
used to always
coming in
do?
'cause they wanna be
Yep.
on our
Hulk
side
Hogan.
now. We had the Ghetto Blaster here. Number
Yeah,
1.
there's Ghetto Blaster, a one and done. He only lasted this show. But yeah, I did these handicap matches because this is my Hogan influence. And then I thought, well, I'm not going to do 2. Why don't I do 3? I even did one match, Dave, where I did 4. I went against 4 guys in the garage. Lightweights on that one, but
Yeah.
at this, I had my hands full with the 3 of these guys. I mean, these aren't lightweights. These handicap matches. I just do this to annoy Peterson.
All 3 men in the ring. Me.
You have to
I am
set the
here
tone
with
with Brian Peterson.
Super D
Brian will bulldoze over you if you
one.
don't set the tone. So if you
We're
notice I
announcing
get a little
this
physical
match
with Brian,
with
that's
all
why.
3 men in the ring at
Yeah.
this time.
Well, I remember you saying that he was
Who got him
a
on
rough
a
and tumble
choke
kid.
Peterson on
Yeah.
a choke on
You have to kind of
Crusher
stand up to him in order for him to let him know.
Crossen. All 3 men in the ring for the
There's only a
Peterson
few of
side.
us that could do that with Brian, though.
Crusher's
Brian
doing
could pretty
okay.
much have his
Now
way
over
with
to Super
anybody.
D1. You should know that's the Cush head. It's their first time. You've heard it before. And they're all
Yeah,
three.
it's
Crusher.
the thing with the garage,
Going
though.
for
I mean,
it.
the Group W Cable Studio was such a great
And
environment for the production side of
Rhymes.
things.
Yeah, you
Professional
could
studio.
edit things right away.
And the little
Right,
karate
yeah, the
kick.
lighting array
Now-
up there above us with all the
triple
lights,
teaming.
studio lights,
Now back to
several microphones, an
Big
audio
dog.
mixer, character generator,
Thank you. Super
two
D1.
camera system,
and they get him up against
Sony
the
Pneumatic
wall.
3/4 inch
Right,
equipment
a
we're
few,
recording
a
on.
turn, or a
Just the
clothesline
quality
there.
was
Now
behind the
they're all
scenes was
kicking at
really
him.
good.
Hard kicks.
And when we went into my
And he
garage,
goes
we had
out.
to use the
Referee
porta
breaks him
pack
up.
equipment, which was just a single camera checkout system on the what they called half inch, or in other words, VHS.
Count while Crusher
And
Peterson
that's a downgrade
head.
quality wise. So the garage took a little hit in quality.
Using a foreign object, now
Using a
Crusher is hurting him bad.
foreign
Now
object,
over to
using
Super
that
D1.
comb hitting
And now
everybody.
we got Ruffles at ringside. What do you have to say, Ruffles?
Yeah. It was a pretty good match.
Peterson, he
And,
just doesn't listen to anybody.
Although it's a 3 against 1, can you say?
Well, Crusher, he's losing ability, but everybody there are just ganging on Crusher.
Well, that's the idea of a handicap match.
Does not look like he's getting hurt that bad.
You know, I wish they would have. These
can
just
appear
became
that
like
he might lose
these are almost
this match.
shoots. This handicap match.
What
I wish they
about
would have worked this more
Well,
as an
now
angle.
Crusher is
You know,
over there.
work
My
something
Let's
out.
go.
You know,
We're
more.
beating him bad.
You know, this is my 2020
on him.
perfect vision hindsight looking at
Yep.
this now.
I have a good feeling Peterson's side is going to
But yeah, I wish we could have worked this a little bit more creatively.
Man. And that's Crusher. Crusher is
But you know, just the
outside
idea
the ring
of
and
one person go
referee's
against
giving him the
3,
count to
it makes
come
it
in.
interesting for the viewers.
Now
You know, they
he's
like that kind of
attempting
thing.
to get in, and he is. Oh, he goes out of the ring again.
Of course, you're using
And
the
over
stall
here to-
tactics.
Roughhouse Roberts.
Who are you to say that Crusher's gonna lose? Look at this. Picks a man right up over the top of his head and slams him down to the carpet. Fuck. Just hold on. So what if they're all teamed up against some handicap match? What do you think? A man of that ability deserves to be in a match like that. If he has enough strength and enough capability to go against 3 guys, well, let him. I think if it's supposed to be fair, you know, why he can try to win. He just might. You never know. Nobody can predict the future. But back to the match now with Super D and a little more commentary about the match.
Okay.
It's Roughhouse
We're
Roberts
here
commentating
with
there.
Chris
The late
Carson getting
Roughhouse
his
Roberts. He
foot
passed away
up
about
in the
20
air.
years ago.
Yeah.
A good guy.
Triple
I
team
mean,
him.
off the show.
The referee just sitting there with his little cap on.
Peterson pulling my sock right off.
And the referee comes over. Oh, and can't.
Showing that it's not a boot, that it's a sock.
Gives him a knee.
Yeah. Yeah. Sports Talk 117 commenting here. He says, looks like you took a few real hits so far. Yeah, you know, this is kind of a shoot, really. There's no, we haven't got this planned out by any means. Which is what I'm saying I wished we would have done. I wish we would have made more of a, you know, kind of been more, a little more creative with it.
He is
Yeah.
a Crusher. He is a strong man.
But you kind of got to have to manhandle everybody
well.
when you're by yourself.
Oh,
Peterson
now
always
somebody
did
gets
those
turned up.
forearm
Look about
smashes
Buck
pretty
Buck.
hard like he always
Referee
does.
ain't
And
doing much. He's just kind of walking around, but the referee sure is big. And he can
You
handle
know,
him.
I can
now
tell
look,
you firing back on him
smacking
surprises
him
you.
and doing all that stuff. Got him in the armbar. And over to Roughhouse Roberts.
Because when you did that, he was backing away quite a bit.
To match again.
yeah,
1 minute left.
28?
4 minutes left then, match.
there's confusion on how long the time was on the match.
Crossen handling all 3 boys, men. Very good, as Eric said. He tries drop kick, but he misses. Killer Campa
missed the
being a
drop
little
kick.
sneaky there and ducking out of the way.
Not common for
Campa hammering on
Crusher.
his head. Peterson giving him a head cracker. Campa booting him in the forehead. Forearm smashes the back of the
Yeah,
head.
Brian, he
Rams
was
him
always
into the
kind of,
carpet.
like I said, Brian was always a rough one. He
Crossen getting
played
a little
rough in
excited
that ring.
here.
He played rough, but he didn't like it when people got rough back with him, it looks like.
Oh no. That's how you controlled Brian, is you just got physical with him in return. Our ring rope came right off.
Straight in half. And they
I have
fixed
to put
it.
that back on.
Now Kid Kelsey's gonna say a few. Rough Ryan's gonna say a few words. Excuse me. About his brother referee.
Well, this doesn't really matter about the ropes coming undone, because this will be our last time here. We, as Crusher said earlier, that we are going to a new format. So this format is.
Yeah, so we
a
even
little
talked
old.
about
We
it.
have
As you can
been
hear
using
Ryan
it for a
talking
long
about going to
time.
the new
Now
format.
let's get back to the match. It's
That it's going to be our last time here in Group W.
foot to the arm,
Yep.
knee to the back.
Well, last time
Camp
doing
just sitting there
in-ring
taking a
stuff
breather
there.
with source.
But you know, it was
Eric
a
Balbon.
Group W Cable Studio served us well for the first year of the show there, and a little bit into
Yeah.
'85. It gave us the platform to really build the foundation.
And you know, I also remember how fun it was going into Group W to do the studio show.
Right, we continued to use the studio. Like, we did all our interviews and stuff, the interview segments. We do use the studio for that. We did our Saturday afternoon special show, which is like a talk
Yeah.
show.
And over to Brian Balabon.
We did that. We did the Monday Night Madness shows,
Yeah,
which
this
was the
back's too
predecessor of
Balabon
Saturday
here,
afternoon
as you can
specials,
see my
which was they were
team
kind of
here
like
is
talk shows. Which
walloping their
I wish they
opponents
would have saved
badly.
those. I have bits and pieces of the
Why
Saturday
not
afternoon
sign up
special,
for
but
this
I
handicap match?
don't know if I
I'll
have
never
any
know,
Monday night. I
but
don't think I have
he
any
is
Monday
getting
Night Madness shows. I
pounded
wish I would have saved all
now.
that stuff.
Back
I never
to
saved that stuff.
Super D.
Only the main wrestling shows I saved.
One.
We were doing Monday nights before WWE was, or
And the senior
WCW.
ref is
Yeah, we called it Monday Night Madness. Yeah.
Todd Campa out of the ring.
There's another one, Dave. We talked
Walking
about things we
around
did
with
before
Vince
Vince or any of them
getting
other
back to
guys,
him.
Bischoff or any of them,
Yep.
right?
And Crusher crossing and kicked a little.
Oh, and did you hear about WWE's new streaming deal?
Coming over.
I didn't hear the
Todd
details.
Campa hitting. 2 minutes left.
All I know is they're no longer going to be on cable
Todd
television.
Campa hitting.
What about
And I know
Peacock?
where they're
Is
going.
this-
Pounding away. But
Looks like we got a comment here from
Crossing getting
Sports
mad.
Video. He says,
Down,
"Did you
rough
ever
off.
pay any of the wrestlers to come to
Sean
join?"
grabs onto
No,
Pearson's leg.
no,
Pearson
nobody
rips
got
loose,
paid a dime here
forearms
for.
to
The only
back of
time
that.
we got paid to
Crossen got
wrestle,
the rope. 1.5 minutes
and it
left.
wasn't really an NWF show. It was our NWF PWA dual event with Eddie Sharkey that we did in '86.
Yep.
Eddie, it was Eddie's card that he promoted at Champlin, so he had the venue and he had us come into it with him. And he asked me, how do we want to do it? And I said, okay, well, I said, you know, it's your gig, so you can go ahead and take, you know, you can do the gate. And he says, well, then I'll pay you. So that was his commitment. And he would pay us for the work we did for our match. So we got paid.
And then you
any of
got-
us that-
Chris Crossen slaps him.
yeah, any of us that wrestled
And you
got
got
paid.
video right.
And that's what I told Eddie. I said, Eddie, I just want the rights to the show. So I want to come in with our camera equipment. I want to videotape it. I want to be part of our program. And he was cool with that. So that's what we did. That was the only time anybody actually got paid. Otherwise, no, we never paid a dime to anybody. All the money that was generated at the Armory cards that we did, all that revenue went right back into the show for future armories, anything we needed for the show.
Repairs to the ring.
That's a word from.
The ring itself, getting the professional wrestling ring. That all that source of that income came from our events.
20 seconds left in this match. I've been
You
giving
know,
official time here,
and that's
so
where
you
the money
just
came
crack.
from. I remember opening up a savings account at TCF Bank across the street from the Anoka Armory, and I had to open it up as a nonprofit organization,
And Ace grabs on the back of his leg.
and then that's where all our money went.
Ref sitting
Just
down
deposited
here.
right in the bank.
And time has run out. Bell is rung.
We never took donations or
Prize of the
anything.
win. Nobody won.
We did try to get. We would get sponsors for the Anoka armor though.
As far as I'm concerned,
When we do our big
Shot.
events, we go around town and get businesses to sponsor us.
The winner is Crusher Cross.
And Matt's fighting a little bit of a hoarse throat. That sounds like he has a cold or something. So what happened there, Dave? Did that match end in a? I didn't see
Looks
the
to me
end of
like
that.
it was a time limit draw.
Time limit draw. Who? What wrestler is the only one who always does the body slam? That could be a bunch of us. That's kind of funny. And then not just Crusher Crossen. There's a lot. That's like every wrestler that did the body slam. NWF trivia. A little biased trivia, I guess you could say.
Just got done seeing myself. I should have won the match. Of course, that's how it goes. Cheating all over. Anyways, we're ready for the next match. First coming into the ring, executed by Killer Campa. He goes by Ghetto Blaster. That's what I hear. Of course, he's on the Peterson side. Campa, whatever.
Yeah, Ghetto Blaster. Friends of Todd
From
Campa.
Washington, D.C. Kid, USA,
School, that's how they knew each other.
Kelsey. You're the
And he's going to go up
crowd
against
favorite
Kelsey.
here. Oh, Kelsey, forget about the...
Now, this
Kelsey's
is a
all
nice
set for
example
action.
of, you know, we don't tell anybody what's going on. I'm sure Campa filled them in, though. But you're just kind of throwing in, and,
Here we are, ladies and gentlemen.
you know, are you going to stick? Well, this kid didn't.
Some
He
kind of
didn't never
rope.
came back again.
It's Kelsey in the midsection. Kelsey with the forearm,
So maybe a little too much for Ghetto Blaster, I guess you could say.
trying to pin. I guess Ghetto Blaster's name sounds kind of weird to me. If you want to know me. How about you, Ruffles? Do you think Ghetto
You know, it's funny,
Blaster's
this
a
kid,
little sissy
I
name?
remember this kid because,
I don't know.
so he's on the show, and I
Doesn't
think it
really put a
was,
name, it's
this
more or
is
less
like
the wrestler, but
1985.
Ghetto
I think it
Blaster, whatever wants to be
was
called.
another year or two later. I was at the one of the Anoka Tornado football games at Goodrich Field in Anoka. And I ran into this kid, Ghetto Blaster. He recognized me. He's like, hey.
Ghetto Blaster.
He's like,
as they
I think he
call
said
him, trying to
Crusher
pin
because he didn't know my
Kelsey.
name.
Get this
Just
foot
remember
on the
me?
roll.
I'm like, no, I don't. It was Ghetto Blaster. He says, yeah, how's it going? He just wanted to say hi. But yeah, I ran into him years later, and he remembered, you know, he wanted to make sure he talked to me, you know? It's interesting.
Another forearm
But
to Kelsey.
he never said, hey, I want to
Kelsey's
come
getting
back.
mad. Just a little push in there.
Yeah.
Well, hey, your first couple matches are pretty rough.
Yeah.
You might see some bulldog here from Kelsey. Kelsey.
Now there's Brian Balaban as referee. This is Brian Balaban's first show, actually. And he's not an announcer yet. He's,
Ghetto Blaster got
you know,
some
comes in
like
as a
beast.
wrestler. He's roughing
There
right
goes-
now.
Ah, Kelsey rips the forearm to
But he eventually would
the
become an
face.
announcer.
Got the iron claw on him. Just- That was a submission hold. Forearm to the Ghetto Blaster.
Kelsey kind of getting a little rough with Ghetto Blaster.
Oh, there's Ghetto Blaster slapping Kelsey.
Well, you know,
Throws Kelsey down to the ground. Oh, Kelsey gives him a ripped midsection.
I will say the kid's probably not wanting to work with Kelsey, and Kelsey's getting a little irritated with him.
Some kind
Yep.
of submission hold. I don't know what it is.
But you know, this ring, like I said, getting out of the Group W was a good thing because this ring just was not working for us for as far as growth.
Kelsey runs his
I
head
mean,
to the floor. Kelsey
It served a purpose, though, like I said. This whole thing served a purpose,
The
but
Ghetto Blaster is trying
The
to.
first time you got the post up, you thought you were in heaven.
is trying
oh
to
yeah. Yeah, it looked like a ring
Yep.
for the first time, and that's, you know, what we wanted. You know, we wanted it to have that ring environment.
Trying to keep him down.
But what was good about the garage,
Oh, forearm
A,
to the
it was
Ghetto
we were in
Blaster.
complete control of
Looks
the
like a
garage.
ski-
There was
ski
nobody
leopard.
looking over our
Oh,
shoulder like there
runs
was in the
his
cable
head into the
company. He didn't have Scott
turnbuckle.
Tronson running in telling us to keep quiet,
Oh, forearm to the face.
which he did several times.
Oh, and another one.
Yeah.
the garage, we had to build a new ring, and the ring we built in the garage had functioning ropes and posts. So we could hit the ropes. We could go off the top
The neck
rope,
breaker.
all
of
that
kind.
stuff.
Yep.
We couldn't do that here. At least not convincingly.
1.5 minutes
And
in this match.
so yeah, that's where we really started to develop the wrestling itself.
Calls for a break.
was in the
Kelsey on the
garage.
ropes.
It was our deal, it was our space. For that 4 or 5 hours every Saturday when we do tapings, we'd whip out about four shows to taping, months worth of shows. It's great. Great environment.
Oh, Kelsey's getting mad.
He is getting mad, isn't he, Dave?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, maybe this is why Ghetto Blaster didn't come back.
50 seconds left.
Kelsey got a little rough with him. Campa notices it, but that's the whole point. We got to make sure you're going to
30
be
minutes-
you can
30
handle the
seconds left in
physical
this
part of it.
match.
If you can't, that was a whole. This is your first match was almost a test, right, Dave?
Yep.
20.
And I'll admit my first match went quick, but I was back for more.
15 seconds.
Oh, well, hand it to Ghetto Blaster though. He does.
10,
Looks like he's probably going to go to a time limit here.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again, time limit ran out. No winner, no loser. Rah.
Yeah, they worked pretty hard in that match. You see him huffing and puffing there at the end. Ghetto Blaster.
Yeah, I was
huh?
gonna say Kelsey looked kind of gassed.
Yeah, he did. Who was the only wrestler who, at one time, held the PWA belt?
Slick Stenerson.
Well, no. It's not Eddie Sharkey's PWA yet. We used to refer to the PWA in the early days of the NWF because Eddie didn't exist yet. We refer to the
Oh.
PWA as the Pacific
NWF
Wrestling Association,
Championship
just
match,
fictitiously.
The champion now in the ring, Ace.
I don't have much to say, but I guess I have to quick finish this off because I have to leave soon.
Ha! He has to leave because he's scared. But
Yeah,
that
a lot of you get tired. This is a show, the second taping in Group W Cable, probably Ace's fifth or sixth match now. He's probably tired.
Let's go to show that likes that guy. But, ladies and gentlemen, Merciless the Ack Attack Ackerman. Merciless Mike versus championship match against Ace. Now, those of you who are wondering, I pinned Ace last week. They took the belt. I pinned him. Can you admit that I
Yeah, I
pinned him?
guess Pressure Crossen to doubling up on commentating duties, huh?
Goes to show ya. I pinned him. We got proof on tape. They said it wasn't official. Okay. Looks like Ace is done with his aerobics, so we can start. Good luck.
So this is the championship match.
We are
This is
back
it.
to another
Merciless
match.
versus Ace.
Mike versus Ace.
Mike was convinced, guys. He
5
was
minute time
convinced he was
limit.
going to beat him. And he wastes
Mike
no
kept
time.
Trying to pick him
He's
up,
going for it.
getting
He's
his
like,
souffle.
they're not playing with each other. They're
Ace
not like
squiggles underneath them.
trading moves courteously. Mike is going after it.
Mike got him in some kind of headlock.
They're not working at all. They're
Ace
going
tried-
for it.
Ace twisted his arm, gives him the arm bar.
Remember how I said this
Four object got thrown
show
into
was
the
the
ring.
represents everybody that was in the 2014 Hall of Fame?
Yep.
So there's obviously
Arm,
myself.
him in the arm bar.
There was Kid Kelsey, Killer Campa, and Ace Andrew Carlson. There's the four there. And then the tag team, Super
That's him in
D's.
the arm bar.
Yep.
That's all we had in the first Hall of Fame, was just a tag team and four wrestlers.
He breaks out of it.
And this year we're lucky. We're getting 2 tag teams, 4 wrestlers, an announcer, and a manager.
Yep. Yeah, it's going to be fun when that Hall of Fame starts up. I'm just hoping we can get the word out to all of our
Push each
YouTube
other
subscribers. You know, it's not easy getting messages out to YouTube
something.
subscribers.
Forearm to the head of
Because those are primarily the people that voted in all of our Hall of Fames in the past.
Used to be
So-
one
Yeah.
part of the Wild Boys.
Trying to
That man kicked them out
get
for
those
some
people
reason
engaged
or
again
another.
isn't always easy. I wish there was an easy way to just like contact every single subscriber,
Merciless
but there's
Twist
just
is
not.
wrong.
Unless they
No.
click that, unless you guys click that bell, you don't get notified, right,
Rough
Dave?
House Robert.
Exactly.
Some excellent commentary there.
I know
by
my phone goes up
CJ
every time we go live.
Yep.
Ring again. Merciless Mike handling Ace pretty good here.
So Mike is frustrated because
Trying to get him some
every
sort
time he
of
tries to
pile
pin him,
driver.
Andrew will grab the
Cracker of
ropes.
some
Ace
sort.
grabs the
Got him in
ropes.
Head scissors on the mat.
And
That's what I was thinking. The infamous rope grab match.
So good there.
yep. What you used to when Andrew came on as a guest last year, you
Pearson
said
comes in with a wrench. Oh, and
Ace was
Coleman's throwing
on as a
some-
guest with
some
us last
foreign
year.
object
you said
to the ring.
master of the rope break. You called him.
That takes care of.
Yep.
Brings him back.
And
to
I
the
meant that
rope
as
there
no
and,
disrespect. I just
back to CJ.
trying to joke around.
Yep.
There's
Yep.
words from Rough House Roberts.
And Andrew very
Now we see Mike has some kind of
very
foreign object
wittily
thrown
told
at him for some reason.
informed you, and as I always said,
Mike,
hey, you can call it
gives
what
him
you
a
want, but if it
pile driver and
meant
turns
I
it
kept the
back
belt
into a
and all I had to do was grab the ropes, so be it.
scissors.
Yep.
Mike's trying to get a
You
foreign
see how he's got his
object.
feet in the ropes there? He's doing whatever he can to get in the ropes.
Ace gets the ropes, but no, the
And Mike is trying to
ref
figure out
into
how to
his
keep him
hands,
away
so he
from
had
the
to let go.
ropes. And there's Brian interfering, so Mike's got that
Crutcher's
going on
pulling
too.
back the rope.
I'm trying to hold the rope back
Ace
so
has a
Andrew
foreign
can't grab it.
object. Ace is trying to break out. Hey! Peterson, you saw.
Brian put Andrew's foot on the
Foot
rope.
on the
That's what he
rope
did.
so
You
they
couldn't
could
see
get
it.
a
I
break. Cheating like
I remember
he
because
normally
I was sitting across from it. But I'm doing the same thing. I'm holding the
Minute-
rope
minutes
away,
in the
so it's
match.
like me and Brian are both cheating. Mike's yelling for the ref to count.
His shoulders up. His shoulders up. That's it.
Like our former governor used to say, win if you can, lose if you must, always cheat and never get caught.
Bad 'cause you see Merciless just killing him,
Boy, Mike, he's just
Get the ropes. Feet.
and you
Feet on the
know that.
Foot on the rope.
Oh,
Brian's
going
instructing
to-
Brian's instructing Ace to get on the ropes. Get on the ropes.
feet were on the rope. Minute and a half left.
Let him get off.
Peterson trying to interfere with the match like he normally does. So a foreign object thrown into the
One of the Super D's refereeing.
the Ace trying to squiggle underneath.
We always
him.
have controversy when one of those Dazowski boys are reffing, don't we?
Hey,
Yes, bro. Come on.
Andrew somehow got his leg on the rope.
Mike. How many minutes?
minute
Brian's
left.
calling for a disqualification.
Mike.
You're Brian. Get on
gets
Mike's
all
case.
Mad. Picks him up.
Mike is starting to get really pissed now. He's getting mad.
Mm-hmm.
That foreign object. Ace throws it out of the ring. It
Andrew
looks
was
like
a
he wants
tough
to fight
competitor, man.
fair.
Don't be fooled by his wiry frame and small size. He was tough as nails, kid.
30 seconds left in the match.
Well, anybody
Very
who stuck
quick.
around with the NWF was tough as nails.
Yeah.
Yes, 30 seconds.
But Andrew was very quick. You know, he can get out of
Pin
things.
from
It's very
Merciless,
slippery.
But he got the ropes. 20 seconds left in this match.
Mike told me he's gonna quit. He was so mad.
15.
Now Mike hears him counting the time down.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Time limit, Lano.
And there goes Mike. Mike was mad. Now, when it's not,
You're
I'm
talking
laughing
about
because when it's not you, it's funny. But I know what
Yeah.
Mike's going through because I had it happen to me too.
Ace.
In a tag match a few shows later.
Boy, that was a.
You know, it's kind of like when that kid gets in trouble in school. It's always funny, right, Dave?
Yep.
It's the same thing in this situation. It's like Mike's mad, and we're all laughing because he's mad. But until it happens to you, you don't understand it. How many cities, both
Exactly.
locally and nationally, is the NWF located? Does anybody know? At the time, 75. There were 55 cities in the Twin Cities and 20 additional cities in other states. Eventually, we were in 22 states because Anchorage, Alaska was the last city we went to,
We'll just
which
get
was
going.
after this promo thing here.
This is Group W. Who knows? But, ladies and gentlemen, we're all so ready for the next match now. It's gonna be, if I'm understood right, Killer Campa, the Ghetto Blaster, and Brian Peterson, fantastic, to go against Ruffos Roberts, CJ Superstud, and myself.
I realize
And
I'm
after
announcing and I have to
one
wrestle
and
as
this
well.
has to be the last match. It's going to be a lightweight match. We're not sure quite yet, but we'll fill you on that.
So this is a 6-man tag. That's ought to be interesting. We got, again, one of the Bzowskis reffing to try to control all 6 of us. This isn't, I don't know, Dave. I don't think this is going to end well.
I don't see it going well. No offense, Todd and Troy, but
Yeah.
I've already got a gut feeling about this.
Gizmo says, Crusher, I never seen you laugh so much as you did in that match. I know, because like I told you, it's like, think of yourself in grade school and some kid's getting in trouble, getting yelled at by the teacher. You're all laughing, you're snickering because it's funny. But when it's you, it's not funny. and Mike was furious, and so we're just kind of laughing at the fact that he's so frustrated. You know, that was what was funny.
And
Not very supportive from your tag team partner at the time, as I was with Mike, or aligned with him.
And we got
But see, you got to remember, we're all friends,
over here.
so it's like,
And he's gonna say a
See,
few
I'm
that
friends with
you
Andrew,
know
too.
him.
No,
You
that's
knew
a
Mike,
match.
and you
Todd
knew how
Campa.
frustrated he actually was.
yeah.
So that
Took
kind of made
Aaron
it funnier to
Dynamite
you.
Dude.
It did.
CJ, I'll call
And like I
him
said, I was
CJ.
friends with Andrew as well.
Peterson,
You know, off the show, we were
trying
all
to
friends.
get
It's like,
CJ on.
it's not like we're, remember, it's a
Oh,
work
and
for the
CJ
most. The
takes
show is a
off
work.
to
The match was
Sean.
real, but
I mean, Crusher Cross.
yeah,
Oh, and
very
it's
very
Kelsey
odd
on
thing with
inside
these
Tim
shoot
Brown
matches.
Peterson.
It's you kind of cross that line
See
of
Killer Camper get hit.
faking it
Yeah, I
to doing
did, I
it
saw
real. You know,
Oh, and Sean and Crusher Cross misses Peterson.
yeah, I can hear my elbow hit the stage. I missed. Little dynamite dude against big Brian Peterson. That's a mismatch if I've ever seen one.
and battling, crossing, walking around.
Yeah.
Little dude's not giving up, though.
Yeah, I got a thing.
Oh, he was
to
a
say.
fighter too.
Fantastic Peterson's nothing. I think he's lost his strength. He's so weak in there, he can't even body slam our man. Squirmy man.
Well,
Adam fell off the
I don't know
stage.
what to say.
Dynamite dude.
Chad, but what is it? CJ scrambling. Now he's tagged. Ruffles Roberts in the ring.
Yeah,
and
Chuck was a
that's
tough guy too.
the
You
what's his
can't.
name?
He's kind of like Brian Peterson. You can't just.
No,
He'll manhandle you if he wants.
Ghetto Blaster. Those Ruffles against the ropes. Some kind
In other
of
words, I would have
there.
been a good guy to go against him because I would have worked with him some.
And
Well, Chuck would
Then I
work
would've
with you though.
Crusher
Yeah.
Crossen.
Chuck would still work. It's just,
Over.
if he wanted to, he could manhandle you around. He eventually went and played football and everything. He was
And you hear some words of Crusher
He's a pretty tough
Crossen
guy.
yelling. And Ghetto
back
Blaster
then.
Jamie
for you know, the
Taylor.
amongst us
Peterson.
kids.
And Peterson's yelling, oh,
You were really into that spin kick at that point.
Yeah. But Brian, man, big
Crossen
oxy kid. He was a,
is
you know, you lock up with Brian and you're,
back up.
you know, he's a strong kid.
With a
Big frame.
miss on the flying drop kick. And Chris Crossen saying, be my guest.
Oh, him. Peterson all having fists closed. More like a boxing
See, what's that? Remember I said you got to set the tone with Brian?
Yep.
Practically a tie
So if he
argument
gets
it
rough, you
was
get rough
before.
back.
As Campa tries to get a piece at Crossen. Oh, and what a hit to Peterson from Crossen. Oh, and Ghetto Blaster. Well, back to Destroyer 1 or 2.
And
I guess I tagged off.
ringside, Chris Crossen coming up.
Somebody's messing around with the audio in the control room. I hear Eye of the Tiger starting up.
Yep.
They're talking
I heard that
about
too.
Rufus Roberts going around.
Yeah, this whole show almost seems like shoot matches, doesn't it, Dave?
Yeah.
1 minute left in your match.
I think we kind of got back to the proper.
Campa going over to the
Once we got
side.
into the garage, we started
Crusher
getting
gets
into
him.
more working matches a little bit better.
And here comes Peterson after Crusher.
And we got out of here.
And hits Crusher. We got a battle in front of my face. And 30 seconds left in this match. And they're battling up to the ring. And they're saying both of them.
We won! 30 seconds!
That looks like a count out.
10 seconds!
20 seconds left. This match.
Well, I guess the count out didn't count.
And they're battling. Wait.
I guess not.
10 seconds left in this match.
We got a lot of draws in this
5
show.
seconds left.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying I think a lot of these matches became shoots.
I've just heard from some unknown source in the studio here that we have an added 2 minutes.
It added 2 minutes.
We added 2 minutes.
Hey, Joe! Joe!
Looks like I got a comment here from
And Todd Campa gets up
Gizmo.
there
He
and
says,
then comes
Ghetto Blaster looked good in
CJ.
these last 2 matches. Too bad he didn't stay with the company. Yeah, he. You know, it's just
Yeah,
it.
you know
Like
what?
some kids would come, like, you know, we had
And
there was a lot of Ghetto Blasters actually.
Campa.
You know,
Oh, no.
kids that come
Peterson
and
just
came and
working
went.
away on Crossen.
In the garage, we had a
And
bunch of them like that.
CJ gets after the ref.
Fred Moore, we had
But-
guys that did that.
But
Was that Dave?
gets chased by Campa.
Well, it's like even Pretty Boy said. He was expecting me to be one and done, and
They're still battling.
I kept fighting.
don't know why.
I think they won, Dave. Peterson, Ghetto Blaster, and Campa won on that one, I think. Finally, a match that ends with a winner instead of a time limit.
The match is over. And everybody's hurt.
Who has held the NWF belt 3 different times? I wonder who that could be.
well, at this point, in '85, I'd say that there's only one wrestler that could have been.
Crusher Crossen, yeah.
Gee, it seems like a lot of the answers come up Crusher Cross.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're ready for the
It
next
does appear
match,
so,
but before
doesn't
I
it?
do that, Peterson, he's already hurt Merciless, and Merciless went to Mercy Medical Center. Merciless is back now, as you've seen, he had his match. But then, just after the last match, he goes and purposely hurts the little lightweight division, CJ Superstud. He hurt him just because
Dynamite dude.
CJ Superstud was verbally speaking to him in manners that Peterson didn't like. Peterson goes uncalled for. I always say 3 strikes and you're out, and he's on his 2nd strike. One more time with him and he'll be suspended. Well, speaking of CJ
Peterson did
Superstud,
get suspended,
we
by
got
the way, Dave,
Superstud, or
eventually.
the Super D's in the ring now, and their opponent, CJ Superstud. Handicap match, 5-minute time
Yeah,
limit down the
for
ringside
this
of
show,
Campa.
Dynamite Dude changed his name to
Okay.
CJ Superstud, and the next show I said, Adam, you're going back to the Dynamite Dude. This ain't. I don't like this name. It's not working.
Kick in the midsection.
Yeah,
So
I was gonna
CJ
say I don't recognize the name CJ Superstud.
Yep.
No, get that. Come on. I'm ready for
So looks like Dynamite's taking on both the Super Ds. It's a handicap match, but they're tagging,
Yep.
so it's not like they're both in the ring at the same time. You know, Todd and Troy were very young, very new on the show at this point in time. They've only been in the league for about a couple months at this point. They really haven't developed into the Super Ds they became in '86. Not yet, anyway.
Yep.
You know, in the beginning, the Super Ds were just, you know, they were kind of the jobbers of the little leaguers. They always lost.
Oh, right down in midsection is Superstar.
Sounds like Killer Campa commentating Rarity.
And CJ Superstar is gonna give him.
Usually never commentated.
Neckbreaker. Oh, bet you that hurt.
Speaking of Killer Campa,
CJ Superstar
Yep.
picks him up.
On our shirt. By the way, I'm working on the new NWF Rewind shirt, Dave. It's a brand new
Gonna be a
shirt we're coming out
clothesline.
with.
Yes. It's a clothesline by CJ Superstar.
interesting.
What's that?
CJ Superstar picks
A
him
new
up
shirt.
again.
Oh, just something different. Something to
Tags.
change it up a little bit.
Super
It's
D
still the
two.
same, gonna look the same, just different. It's not gonna be Killer Campa. It's be a collage of guys.
CJ Superstar is right on him. Super D2 takes him down. CJ Superstar is having a little bit of trouble there. And right next to me is
This is Ghetto Blaster here. CJ Superstar
And there's Ghetto Blaster
Oh.
talking though.
smacks his head. Pile driver? Oh, yes it is. He's hurt now.
Yeah, these
And
little leaguers,
CJ
they
Superstar.
had lots of energy. They could take lots of. They're very resilient,
And
as you know, little kids are.
And here is Killer Campa.
okay. CJ Superstar got some up. Turn around there, getting a little dizzy. Oh, can you believe that?
Sure, he is a good wrestler, man.
Super D2.
I think
is
Super
out of
D2's
the
got
ring.
the dark
Welcome,
shirt on, and
Super
then
Ds.
Super D1 has
Super
the
D gets
number
2 gets
33
back in.
shirt,
The kick in the face of CG
which he wore quite a
Superstar.
bit. He always wore that in the early
Yeah, I
days.
mean,
Super
excuse
D1
me.
always had that 33 shirt. It seemed
Trying to body slam. Oh, he
he's
does
trying
it.
to body slam.
Oh, I guess not.
Oh, he did get him
Got him up.
almost.
CJ is punching him a couple times in the face. Oh, one big smackaroo. Now both the Super Ds are in. CJ on the ground. Gonna try to body slam him,
Yeah, very early
but he
days
fails
of
to
the
do
wrestling
so.
here with the Group W cable. I'm just looking at the moves and stuff, and it's just We came a long ways between this point in time and the first armory event.
Oh, CJ.
Oh, yeah.
It's about the airplane spin. Here he goes. Oh, he hits the ground.
You don't see
so
that
hard.
move anymore in wrestling, do you?
Oh, both of them are in
Not
there.
really.
Yeah.
Super
Of course, it's
D1.
been so long since I've actually watched wrestling.
Yeah.
Super D1 is going back out. Super D2 comes back in. Oh, they get the tag off.
Trying to tag off to his brother.
Super D1 is about to body slam.
Both brothers are sitting there going, "Oh, we'll be the one to slam him."
Oh, he pulls him to the ground.
Yeah.
Back with Killer Campa.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dynamite Dude, he was a good wrestler.
CJ.
Wish he would, I wish
body slam.
Adam Dynamite Dude would have stuck with it as long as the Super
Does
D's did.
So,
You know, all the way through
Yeah.
86.
Come on, Ref. The
Because
pin.
Adam was good. He had
Foot on the ropes.
yeah, the
Super
video's
D's
kind
are
of getting
in.
choppy there.
Trying. CJ thinks he has it won so far. Into the ropes. Goes back into the ropes again. And it's a sleeper.
Sleeper hold.
The bell has run. CJ
Oh, that's
Superstar
it.
is the winner.
And we have our winner.
Come on, boys.
Not a time limit or a draw for a change, huh?
Stop this.
Ref, get these guys broken up.
Yes.
Crusher just kind of calmly walks in there.
Yeah.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, your winner in the handicap match. He won on a sleeper, CJ Superstud. Very controversial, though. Well, folks, that's all we have time for. Next week with show number 37. No, 38. 38. See you next week.
I had to kind of chuckle at Sky Sports comment there.
Oh yeah. I'll pull that up as soon as the credits are done. But yeah, the final taping in Group W cable. The end of an era there for us. We still, like I said, we still use the studio for interviews and our talk shows and stuff, but it was the last time we did wrestling in the studio. Let's just say that.
Yep.
All right, so
I don't even remember things getting wild in the studio.
you mean in our interview
You know.
segments and stuff?
Yeah.
Well, we did a few different things. I know on the Saturday afternoon special show we'd have little altercations, but nothing too severe.
Right.
But yeah, your Sky Sports video news commented here. He goes, "Do you think he wore the 33 half shirt because he was trying to look more like you at the time?" Now that is respect. No, actually, I don't. In the mid 80s, those half shirts were everywhere. Every kid was wearing them. I mean, they were everywhere. It was the fad at the time. So it's like, as much as I'd like to say, yeah, that's what he's doing. He's showing respect, and I'd love to give Troy a hard time on that today. But no, I think it was just the popular thing at the time. Those shirts were, a lot of us wore those at that time. At that time period, yeah. But yeah, no, Todd and Troy, you know, they did watch the show. I mean, when the Dazowskis came on, Rich Taylor had asked them, he would say, like, how'd you hear about the show? And they said, well, we've been watching it and we thought it was fun and we wanted to join. So I know that Todd and Troy did watch. So they probably did see a lot of me at the time, but I don't know if they were necessarily influenced as much by me as, like, say, Jamie was.
Right.
Gizmo says, Crush, you made an interesting comment a while ago. You said you are starting to see the show from an adult point of view. With that in mind, do you have a different view of Old Man Tronson? Yeah, I do. Um, like for instance, his thinking of getting rid of that stage to make a better, more functional stage for all the other access shows that go on besides ours. I
Right.
can see what he was doing, you know? At the time, I looked at it with tunnel vision and thought, he's doing this just to get rid of it because he wants us out. Which I think for Tronson was just an added benefit by getting rid of the stage, but it wasn't necessarily the primary factor, if that makes any sense. That's how I look at it now. Whether that's the
Yeah.
case or not, I don't know.
But to Gizmo's question, do you view Old Man Tronson any differently nowadays than you did back then?
Well, do I have a different view of him? And yeah, I
Right.
mean, I in that respect I do, but at the same time, he was just a schmuck. I mean, you don't come in, we have a 3-hour block. You don't come in when we're wrapping the show up, trying to do the end of it, where we have like a few minutes to go, and you don't come in and start shutting the lights off like he did to us. I'll never forget that. And or you come in and yell at us at the top of your lungs, keep it down in here. There's no sign that says you got to be quiet. We don't know. So he just had a very arrogant attitude towards us. When I applied for the cable grant to get the $500 grant, which we ended up getting, but when I asked Scott Tronson for the application, he literally looked at me and said, you do realize that this isn't a guarantee for you. There's a bunch of other people that are going for this grant too. There's no guarantee you're going to get it. That's what his response was when I asked for the application. So I still feel the same way about Tronson in that respect. I think he didn't like us, But I don't think that was why he got rid of the stage. That wasn't his primary reason for getting rid of the stage. Let me just say that. I think. I don't think, anyway. That's a long-winded answer. But yeah, it's a good point. I mean, it's funny. Dave and I, we watch this stuff and we look at this with, our adult lenses. And, the biggest thing when I watch this stuff, the thing that goes through my mind right now is, wishing you could go back in time. I wish you could go back in time and make things more crisp. Whether that be the moves in the ring, the angles we're doing, the direction, the organization, but just make it more crystal clear with what we're doing. Interview segments.
I mean, from my perspective, Crusher, from seeing the studio days to where we were at when I joined back in the studio days, it seemed more like as the show went along, you decided what the matches were going to be. Whereas when I joined, the matches were already lined up and, okay, this is where you're going to fit in.
True. Yeah, we planned them out more. So we started to do that. And to your point, Dave, look at how the show went. Look at where we ended up in the dry dock, where it actually came, to fruition. That's where the show made full circle. Look at the organization at that point.
Yeah.
Professional ring, professional, like all adult refs, a mixture of kids and adults at that point.
The ref wasn't always sober, but
yeah, our referees. But yeah, I mean, the show definitely.
I mean, amazingly enough, we were in a building called the Dry Dock, which was a dry bar.
Yep, non-alcoholic.
But somehow that referee still ended up stumbling to the ring.
Well, that was more in the Anoka Armory when But yeah, you're right. He was still. I remember guys telling me he was plastered in the dry dock too. See, at that point though, in the dry dock days, I was in charge of the video production, so I did all the televisions. You had the Greg Bushman, Scott Dotzer. They were my guys. They had the mobile van. They were doing all the video production. So that's all I had to deal with. That was Ernie's problem at that point. If Rick Pitts was drunk and everything, Sports Talk 117 says, so Crusher, if you keep looking back, can you believe that you got away with all you did? Yes and no. Today, you could never do it.
It depends on what he means by get away with. I mean,
I think he means be able to do this. Do what we did.
I mean, can you believe all the people that you helped fulfill dreams?
Yeah, you have to clarify, Sports Talk, what you actually mean there. If you mean actually pull this off and do a wrestling show with kids, I don't think that would ever happen anymore today. There's just too much, just society in general. It's not the same. The vibe is not the same. This would be considered too violent to have kids doing this kind of thing, in my opinion. That's how they would look at it. So it would never work. But if you go back in time to the 80s, it doesn't surprise me for that era.
In our era, back when we were doing this, it was an era where your parents basically woke you up in the morning on the weekend and said, see you at supper time.
Yeah. Get out of the house. I'm going to clean. Get out of here. Go play. Come
back when the streetlights.
Yeah, or you'd play night games. And look, it's just society in the 80s was different. And people have a hard time with that today. People that weren't around then don't understand that because they didn't live that. But believe me, if you were society and the way it was back then, no, it doesn't surprise me that we were able to do what we did because I wanted to make it happen. What it all comes down to is you need to have the drive and determination to make it work. Exactly. You have to have that. That's the part that a lot of kids back then didn't have, even in the 80s. The trouble with kids, any generation, is you're excited and do stuff for 2 weeks and you're on to something else 2 weeks later. You cannot stay focused on one thing. Where with the NWF, I stayed focused with it and I kept it going. I kept that train going. Where most kids would lose interest in going to something else, right, Dave?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at all the one and dones we had come through the door.
Oh, yeah. I mean, not everybody. It wasn't for everybody. And that's why we call them one and dones. But Sports Talk, if you want to clarify if that's what you meant, or did you mean, what did you think, Dave? You meant maybe you kind of were describing it differently. Like help kids fulfill their dreams and stuff?
Well, I mean, one, Crusher helped a lot of kids fulfill dreams of becoming a pro wrestler. Or do you mean we got away with stuff that maybe we shouldn't have gotten away with?
Yeah, like booking an armory card, without insurance, those kind of things. That's what I thought he meant. But all I can tell you is it wasn't the same times. I know today, if you go to the Anoka Armory, they want an umbrella policy now, but they never did back then. So things just have changed over the years,
See, when we recently had that event that we were thinking about doing but didn't do, they didn't ask for any kind of umbrella policy.
No, because we weren't doing anything physical.
Right. It was just going to be you and I. But
right. Once they hear about professional wrestling and a ring and everything, that's where they want insurance. But here's the it's a real stickler. It's a sticky point to do it because most insurance companies, they will give you an umbrella policy, but it'll cover everything but what happens in the ring and the wrestlers and all that. They cover everything else, but they won't even write a policy to cover the actual wrestling. So it's like,
exactly.
Yeah, I don't know how they can even do it. It's funny. There was only one other. So we did 5 events at the Anoka Armory that I promoted. In 1987, in August 23rd, 87 was the last one. it would be another 20 years until professional wrestling would return to the Anoka Armory.
Mm-hmm.
And when it did return, they had about this crowd that we had at the July card, Dave. About 50 people, maybe. They
Yep.
didn't have nearly the chairs we had. I mean, it was just, they had huge. There was some video on YouTube, you could see this. They had so much space around the ring that they only had maybe 3 or 4 rows of people on each side of the ring. That was it. So it was a very, very small venue, really. And, but that was, it took 20 years to have wrestling go back there, from when, and we did 5 shows there in a
Yep.
matter of 18 months.
And only one of them was a semi-bust.
Yeah. Even the last one we did in August, going up against the NWA at the same night. And they were in Bloomington, Minnesota that night. I didn't know it. We went head to head against the NWA coming to Minnesota for the first time in decades. And we still drew about 70 to 80 people for that one.
Yep.
Somewhere in there. So, yeah, I mean, but at that point, the show, we had a little bit of history ourselves. We were on the airwaves and everything for several years, and that's when I did my direct advertising, where I placed my ads right in the AWA shows, the NWA shows, and the WWF shows on cable. I would advertise right on their programs for our Armory show.
Yep.
Can you imagine being Vern watching seeing an ad for the NWF come up on your programming? Oh man! Like I said, Vern could have made it hard for us.
Chuckled about it.
What's that?
Seeing that Vern knew who you were and knew about the organization, he probably sat back and chuckled about it.
Yeah, I mean, he knows we're not competition to him, and all. He'd probably think it was clever,
Yep.
But like I said, Vern, we talked about this before. Vern Gagne knew a lot of things we were doing, but he didn't interfere with us. He let us do our thing. And
Yep.
he even gave KSTP Channel 5 permission to use AWA footage on the report they did on the nightly news when they covered us. So that's pretty good. So Dave, I got a comment for you, I think.
Uh-oh.
It says, Dave, I agree with you. Crusher did have a positive impact on most of, if not all, the boys in the company. That's something they will remember forever.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I've always fondly looked back at my NWF days.
Yeah.
I know Jamie McParland does. All the guests that have come on have fond memories of the NWF. And I'm sure a lot of the guys that haven't made it on have fond memories.
I think that goes without saying. And it's not, I guess I will take credit, for providing the stage to let all you guys come on and do your, live out that dream. For that, I'll take credit there, but at the same time, I needed all of you guys to come on. That was a two-way street. The show would have been nothing without the rest of you. Can't do it by myself. So
yeah, awkward matches. I mean, I've seen. I don't know if you've seen the footage, but I've seen images of a former champion here in America while he was doing some tours in Japan, having some very odd matches.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, you're right, though. All the guests we had, Dave, they've said the same. They've echoed all this. They've said that they really appreciate. I remember when we had Troy Dazowski on, one of our first guests that we ever had, right? Back in the beginning of this, when we started doing this last year.
Well,
he had mentioned that, there's all, you do things when you're younger and you have the memories of it, but nobody recorded it. So it's not captured. And here with the NWF, we have all this preserved footage, and they're so grateful for that. They love, a lot of our viewers, big part of our viewers are the former wrestlers. the former kids. They tune in, because it's
Yep.
a gateway to the past for them. To see the memories again. Um, you know. So here's a comment. This is actually, this would be Steve Engstrom, folks, the AKA Mr. X Pretty Boy Taylor commenting. He's watching the stream on Facebook. He says, "Yeah, Sean, you were a miracle worker. You made it all come together. You allowed us to have fun and make new friends as we all came together as a family." And Steve does look at it today, folks. This is part of his extension of his family. That's how he looks at it now. So, with all the things we went through back in the day, I know for myself at least, Dave, I put that water under the bridge, and I know Steve has with me, and we've just, because you can hold grudges all you want, but what you have is your memories. And I would like to look back at the fond memories and know what me and Steve accomplished together when he was part of it. To me, is more important. So that's how I look at it. Not every kid on our show may feel the same, as you know, Dave. We have a couple of them out there that, never been on our show, but they have their opinions.
Yep.
Yeah. Another comment from our Facebook
we
user.
may have people that are sour grapes, but so be it. That's their opinion.
Yeah. And I'm not, like I said, you can carry grudges to the grave all your life, and you'll die with them. I'm not going to be one of those people. So for Steve, Steve was a guest with us last year. He came on, and Steve publicly apologized to us for what he did with Larry. That means a lot to me.
Yeah,
So,
being able to man up and confess to things that you've done wrong.
Right, and that I still remember that show, and there's times I've watched that again just to to hear Steve's comments. I really appreciated what he said. Speaking of Steve, that's a good segue. I want to remind everybody that, two reminders really. The next time we're going to be on is going to be in 2 weeks, folks. 2 weeks from tonight, the 15th of February. We're returning live with a very special outsider's perspective of the NWF. Brian Zane with Wrestling with Regret will be joining us. We'll have Carmine Sabia. I don't want to butcher it. Hopefully he'll be joining us. He's a busy guy. We're hoping he's going to be here. Mike Grimsley, a good friend of Dave's, and I've gotten to know him. Was trained with Dusty Rhodes, I believe, right? When he got into the business, or part of his camp,
I think
or whatever.
He got to know Dusty, but he trained with a former wrestler by the name of Glacier, who was a former WCW wrestler.
Glacier, because I remember he made comments about he's been taught Dusty. He's had conversations with him on his training and stuff.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, he knows a lot of former.
So he's
WWE.
got some. So he'll be joining us, and then like I said, we got a few others that we're hoping to join us on that show as well. We're just waiting for final confirmation, but that'll be a little bit of a roundtable perspective. We're just going to take snippet looks at every year of evolution of the league, and we're going to get their feedback on what they think.
Okay, and I'd like to comment here on a comment that Few made.
Mm-hmm.
They asked about the voting for the Hall of Fame. Voting does not begin until March 1st. And the voting will be on the NWF website, if you want to post that again, Crusher.
Yes. So let me just pull that up for the Hall of Fame question. So the voting, I don't know if I still have it though. Let's see. Yeah, I do. Just got to find, I got so many things here.
So many banners.
Yeah.
But the voting will take place at NWFWrestling.org.
So NWF Hall of Fame voting will start March 1st. So we got about a month. So we got time. And you would go to the website, which is nwfwrestling.org. If you go there now, you can get a preview of the Hall of Fame and everything. Like a Hall of Fame page is all set up. And if you go to this website, right on the front page, you'll see a link for the 40th anniversary Hall of Fame, and it'll take you to the page. And that's where you'll go to vote. There'll be a vote button. Although if you pick the button right now, it isn't going to do anything because it doesn't start till March 1st. And for voting, we're going to be doing all sorts of giveaways. We're going to have books, DVDs, t-shirts, championship belts, and more as our giveaways in that belt. And some lucky person is just for voting will get this beauty of a belt. It's heavy. That's why I'm breathing like I am. 6 mil. Look at this very, very thick plates. It's a stacked dual layer belt. The Andre 87 world title belt. In case Andre won it, right, Dave? They had a belt made for him. This is it. Very beautiful belt. $600 value. Somebody's going to get this thing. I'm giving it away as part of the Hall of Fame voting, along with some NWF belts we're going to give away. We're going to give away the NWA. I don't have it up here. I should have brought it, but the NWA Domed Globe world title, that classic NWA belt. And the way we're going to do all that is when you vote, you're going to provide your email address, and then we're going to capture that, and you'll opt in if you want to go into this giveaway. Then you'll go into a randomizer, which we'll do, and we'll randomize it off, and we'll create a top list. And whoever's number one on that list will get the prizes, at least the main prize, and down from there. So that'll be kind of cool. And then, like Dave mentioned, I was saying with Steve Engstrom, not in 2 weeks, but in the end of the month, the 29th of February, another special show, another roundtable only with NWF guys. Steve Engstrom, Jeff Dinsmore, Chad Ronnebaum, Matt Kelsey, who am I forgetting, Dave?
Jamie McFarland.
Jamie McFarland, that we got on the docket already, and probably more that are going to join us for the special first ever roundtable of wrestlers.
And obviously, Crusher Cross will be here. I'll be there.
Me and Dave. But it'll be great for people like Gizmo and everybody else because they love asking questions. Now you'll be able to ask questions to all these guys. So that'll be a fun show. Yeah, looking forward to that. And it'll be fun to see everybody again too. We had them. Most of the guys I just mentioned have already been guests with us before, but they'll be returning. But this will be a special kind of a roundtable panel. So that'll be fun. That's what we got coming down the pipe here for February, you guys. And then March is NWF month. That's when the voting all starts and all the fun begins for the Hall of Fame for the 40th. And I'm really looking forward to it. I'm just, whoever gets in, I'm going to be so happy for him because...
You decide if Crusher becomes a Hall of Famer for another time? You get to decide if I get the Hall of Fame?
For my partner, I'm in there in some tag teams, and for my partner's sake, I guess. But Kelsey and I are already in there. Look, and I don't want to talk down. I don't want to talk myself out of getting votes, but I would just say this. Consider who's already in the Hall of Fame, right? I will say that.
And that's one thing I would say too. Consider who's already in the Hall of Fame. I mean...
Yeah.
No offense to both Kelsey. You guys are nominated as a tag team this year. You're both in the Hall of Fame individually.
I mean, we're nominated as a tag team because we should be. But at the same time, look, I'm going to be happy for whoever gets voted in. And I want, especially guys who maybe aren't even in it yet. So I look at the NWF with a whole different globe. I look at it different. I don't look at it for me. I look at it for everybody else. So I'm just going to be happy for who gets in.
Just randomly speaking about Hall of Fames, I mean, to me, it devalues the Hall of Fame when people are nominated or are inducted multiple times.
Right.
I mean...
That's one thing I hate about... Not to get off track here, Dave, but that's one thing I hate about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is that they put in artists solely when they already been inducted as the group they were famous for, and they got groups that should be in that aren't getting in.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very aggravating. So yeah, I know. I understand. I hear that, But yeah,
You
so
know,
that's
it's like, well, now that Vince isn't in charge anymore, maybe the WWF Hall of Fame will be a little different now.
yeah. But yeah, great questions tonight, you guys. Make sure I didn't miss any comments. I know I was. Let's see.
Here's one
This
for you
is
to
where
kind
that
of,
this Facebook user is saying, where is the link to vote for the Hall of Fame? So yeah, so like
yep.
I said, you go to our webpage. That'll have and when we get to when the voting starts in March, we will be providing the link directly on our show here and everything. So as you tune in to us, but yeah, if you go to the website right now, though, you'll be able to bookmark the site. It's
And, you can also, you know, I hate to throw this out there, but you can also, by going to the NWF Facebook page, you can also kind of add Crusher and I as people on your friends list. And I'm sure we'll both be sharing links for the Hall of Fame.
Yep. Yeah, and if those of you aren't joined to our Facebook group, National Wrestling Federation of Minnesota, just go on Facebook and join that. The link is in the Facebook description of the live video. You can join that. Then you'll always get informed of updates and everything like that through Facebook. So there's always that option too. This is again Steve Engstrom making another comment. He says, I just want to leave you with one note. It was you that made, I wasn't a kid, but you made somebody's life change, and something I wanted to do you make come true, and I give thanks to you for all that. If I could do it over again, you bet I would. Best thing I ever did in my life, and you got me hooked into wrestling. Well, Steve, I appreciate that comment, but that last part, you were hooked into wrestling before me, because you came into the show with the natural ability to take bumps, and you don't just do that. You were definitely hooked into wrestling, because like I said, I've said this before. Steve brought all of us up as far as in-ring bumping when he came in. You had a match with Steve, and Steve showed you in a match how to sell. And that's where I
If you
seen
did
it for
sell
the
for
first
him,
time.
he'd make you sell for him.
Yeah. Because nobody bumped as hard as Steve did in our show. I'd argue to say in the wrestling at the time, I think he bumped just as hard as anybody in the business at that time.
Yeah.
And yeah, so no doubt about that. All right, so this is, yeah, I know that I'm aware of this news. I want to let everybody know that if they knew Terrific Tim, a few months ago he had passed away, so we lost a really good wrestler, dear friend and family member. Please send out your prayers to his family. Yes, I know Tim was dealing with some medical complications that kind of hit like a ton of bricks, and unfortunately he passed away just at the end of the year last year. So, prayers to his family. We all get older and everything, and sometimes life hands you an unfair advantage, when it comes to medical stuff, and that's what Tim was dealing with, and just one of those things.
Yep.
So, all right. With that note, though, we're gonna probably sign off here. I know Dave's got a busy day tomorrow, and so do I.
Oh yeah.
But we certainly appreciate you all tuning in tonight, folks, and I hope you definitely come back in 2 weeks when we have our outside guests. That way you can chime in as well with them guys, and we can have some pretty good conversation. Plus, we're going to have really cool 3-minute videos of each year for our guests and you to watch, that kind of highlight reels of the year, if you will, for 84, 85, 86, and 87. It'll be pretty cool. And then that's because some of the guests, Dave, haven't seen any of the NWF footage, so we got to kind of show them what we're talking about.
Well, I'd say the only one that probably has seen it, well, there's two that have possibly seen some of it, and that would be, if Carol shows up, she's seen it, and obviously Racer X, aka the Hammer, Mike Grimsley.
Yep, and Brian Zane, he did his research for the
Oh, yeah.
document for his piece on us. Yeah, this would be a good show. I'm really looking forward to it. So make sure you tune in with this in 2 weeks, guys. We won't be on next Thursday, but we'll be on the following. So stay tuned for that show.
So see you in 2 weeks. Be safe, be kind to each other, and have fun.